welcome to SVG TV's news for Wednesday, February 8, 2023. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. A footballer who was also a bus conductor was gunned down last evening in front of his passengers in the Otley Hall area. The driver of the bus was also shot and is currently hospitalized. As we hear in this report, friends of the deceased are calling for justice for the young man who they say didn't deserve such a death.
Reports are that at around 7:45 p.m. in Otley Hall, a lone masked gunman pumped several bullets into 29-year-old Kieran Hadaway, a footballer and conductor from Otley Hall. According to residents, the shooting happened as a van stopped to drop off passengers. Hadaway was the conductor of the van. Shop owner close to where the shooting took place recalls what happened.
Van right there. The incident took place. Van got a reverse go back down.
Say that the guy at the van came up, the van stopped at the conductor was Kieran, the deceased was Kieran who would open the door. Yeah, several gunshot was taken. Multiple, so other people who was coming up the van at the same time could have get hurt or die, but already fled to my shop for rescue too. And then after that, all these things, the van, the driver got to reverse the van all the way back down too. Another like a next 100 feet away from the shop, so she got to cover.
Residents said police arrived on the scene within 10 minutes of the shooting, as there is a police station in the community. The shop owner said he knew Kieran from a young age, and he is aware that Kieran did face a conviction several years ago, but then he chose to correct his past.
Yes, in this policy we have a conviction, but that was friends. You don't know what he's on for when you're young. You just help our people, but at the time but then he came out, changed his life, everything was going good, and eventually his life was taken by the power of guns. So I know what happened or what occurred. So suicide, yeah, family puzzle, but a businessman and someone in the community or someone look up to and someone know how to keep the thing going, but suicide right now to the situation.
Another friend said he was a lover of football and parties. Friends of the deceased who did not speak on camera are upset with the way their friend met his death and would like to see justice for him. The deceased, who has a 2-year-old son, played for the football team Avenues United FC as a defender. He would have celebrated his birthday in about a week's time. Meanwhile, the driver of the van, who was taken to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, is said to be in a stable condition. Hadaway's death is the 8th killing for the year in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 2 were by police, which happened in the line of duty. Larissa Poxley-Kidd, SVG TV News.
The opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, says crime is out of hand in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, noting that in 2022, SVG recorded a record-breaking homicide count of 42 for the year, and this year is on course to break that record. In a statement issued today, the party says the country is headed in the wrong direction and the people are yet to hear of a plan to fight crime from the current regime, including the Commission of Police. According to the NDP's statement, the administration's refusal to acknowledge the depth of this crisis shows that they are overwhelmed by it and lack solutions, and that the Minister of National Security, Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Savs, has failed to be tough on crime and the causes of crime as promised. Offering sympathies to the families directly affected by violent crimes in SVG, the NDP statement said crime in SVG is a national crisis that requires a national response, and renewed its call for the ULP administration to collaborate with the party and other social partners in the development and implementation of strategies to address the crime problem. The party said in his recent national address on the problem, leader of the opposition, Dr. Godwin Friday, outlined how the crime problem can be successfully tackled and urged anyone with information that might assist in the police investigations to contact the police immediately. Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Savs and his delegation returned to the state today after a short visit to Venezuela. The Prime Minister spoke to the API's Cheryl Macmillan, who was a part of the delegation, on some of the benefits of the official visit to Venezuela.
And as a result of our engagement, I'm absolutely sure that beneficial things are coming to us in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the integration movement in relation to air and sea transport, scientific, technological education, the engagement with the Alba Bank, Petrocarib, a revival thereof. You know, they have some challenges because of the sanctions by the United States of America. Their bilateral issues, matters touching upon St. Vincent and Grenadines is some applications, some decisions which were taken at the Alba Bank in relation to a couple of projects, like for instance the fishing fleet and the Little Tokyo educational issues, public health matters. In relation to the two projects which are going to be financed by Alba, with a loan from the Alba Bank. That is to say, the Little Tokyo project, which is in the estimates and the fleeting of the fishing industry, the fishing vessels, that those monies are to be released sometime within the next 45 to 60 days. There are some procedural things to be done, but all the decisions have been taken in those respects. So it was a good, fruitful, official visit in solidarity. I think we're better off, both Venezuela and St. Vincent and Grenadines, for the visit, and of course the regional integration movement.
Also accompanying the Prime Minister to Venezuela was the local coordinator for the Community of Latin America and Caribbean States, CELAC, Dr. Douglas Slater, and Security Gregory Lohman. In other news now, the Ministry of National Mobilization, Social Development, Family, Gender Affairs and Youth is looking to add technical and vocational training in its Youth Empowerment Service program. This is according to Minister Orlando Brewster, who, while speaking on NBC Radio's face-to-face program on Tuesday morning, said that the stipend recently increased for the program is one way in which they plan to take a different approach to its development.
Different approach this year to the YES program. The YES program, for many years, when you were on that program, you spent a year, you would come out with a certificate to say that you are a participant of the YES program, you receive training. But Johnny P, our country is moving towards a technical and vocational, towards a technical and vocational aspect. And what we have to do, if we are empowering our youths, we want to make sure that they have something meaningful. Mm-hmm. So going forward, we have to do a marriage. I call it a marriage, where we marry the YES persons with the technical and vocational aspects. So we have to, not only would they come in, spend a year, sometimes they just leave with that certificate, but what happens after? Right. So in a method of empowering them is to make sure that we have them in one of our courses offered at some of the institutes, and the institutes, they are growing. They are growing across our country. A lot of youngsters are going to the institute, but not enough, because we are having a lot of shortage in the skill sector. So we have to make sure that we encourage our youth to make sure, listen, we don't want you to come on the YES program, spend a year, and then that's it. That's it, right. We want to empower you, give you something that you can go out and make a living off your own, learn a skill. Right. You know, so we are looking at adding that aspect to the Youth Empowerment Service under the Division of Youth.
Minister Brewster further noted that he is doing all that he can for the youth of this country to see what they have more to offer than crime.
Under the Division of Youth, there's a mass movement across the country with the police youth clubs. Very much so. Mass movement. And you know the issues we are facing with crime and so on in our country. And I spoke last Sunday, not this Sunday gone, the last Sunday at the 10-year celebration of the Layu Police Youth Club, and they enrolled about 30 plus persons there. And it was amazing. I love to see the youngsters being meaningfully engaged. I saw my cabinet colleague, Honorable Soboto Caesar, in Diamond with his police youth club. We have to steer our youngsters in the right direction. We have to have a serious conversation and let them know that crime doesn't pay.
Right.
You know, we have to have a serious conversation with our youngsters to tell them, listen, within you, you have more to offer than you think.
With public discussions on the new imported vehicle surcharge, Customs Supervisor Glendon Swift and Assistant Controller Chanel Dick Brazel used the opportunity on Monday to clarify some of the issues of concern on the API's morning SVG program. The general assumption that persons make is older vehicles cost less, while newer vehicles cost more. Assistant Controller Chanel Dick Brazel explained that the vehicle surcharge or surtax is applicable on vehicles depending on the description and engine size. Brazel mentioned the 4 factors multiplication on approach considered the base factor, age factor, engine size, and the CIF factor.
The vehicle surcharge was based on vehicles over 4 years old, but now it's a new approach where we have a 4-factor multiplicative approach where it's based on $1,000 for the base, $1,000 base multiplied by engine size factor, multiplied by the age factor, and multiplied by the CIF factor. Now for those vehicles that do not have an engine, like for example the electric vehicle, we would use the range factor. And for buses and coaches, would use the seating capacity, and for the trucks we would use the tonnage factor.
Brazel also noted that there is a grace period lasting until the 1st of April 2023. She explained that newer vehicles would be more costly to purchase from business websites upfront. Nevertheless, persons would save more funds on what they would have spent for vehicle parts in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The 1st of April 2023, because there's a grace period in place whereby persons who would have ordered their vehicles and paid for them before the 1st of December and would have imported in, they would have been landed before the 1st of April, then they would pay the old rate and they would pay, which is the old vehicle surcharge rate, but they would have the new import duty rates that apply for vehicle. So the newer the vehicle, going back to the broad objective, the new vehicle would cost less in terms of the vehicle surcharge that is to be applied, right? So, and you know, if anything is multiplied by 0, then it will be 0. So once you bring in a vehicle where the factor is 0, then you wouldn't pay any vehicle surcharge.
Customs Supervisor Glendon Swift further explained the customs value CIF factor, which he said includes the funds paid to purchase the vehicle, the freight of how much is paid to transport the vehicle to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the insurance charge, which is the cost of the vehicle on its external voyage.
Particular age would cause certain amount. So once you have a relation there, there's a factor, and then you multiply that. According to the cost of the vehicle, according to the value of the vehicle, the CIF factor might even be 0. And if the CIF factor is 0,
how would that come about?
How would that come about? It's just a table.
You said according to the age of the vehicle.
According to
the value.
A new vehicle.
A new vehicle.
A new vehicle.
Right.
The CIF factor is 1,000. Is 0.
Because it is expected that, okay, if you bring in a newer vehicle, it would be more costly, right? Generally speaking, from if you go and browsing and you will see the cost of vehicle. So the newer the vehicle, going back to the broad objective, the new vehicle would cost less in terms of the vehicle surcharge that is to be applied, right? So, and you know, if anything is multiplied by 0, then it will be 0. So once you bring in a vehicle where the factor is 0, then you wouldn't pay any vehicle surcharge.
SWIFT advises persons to shop with a customs calculator and the table to ensure they budget wisely and afford the vehicle of their preference.
Even before you get there.
And I believe this is the reason why we have a grace period now, so that people who ordered the vehicle a long time will not be surprised and will not have to pay this extra amount when the vehicle comes. But now that you can shop with the calculator, you can definitely see how much you're going to pay when the vehicle comes.
Minister of Agriculture Siboto Caesar says there is a demand today for Dasheen that the island is unable to satisfy. However, he urges local farmers and traffickers not to sell short the produce. Addressing a consultation yesterday at the Methodist Church Hall on a national drive for Dasheen production, Minister Caesar told the farmers and traffickers present that they united they will stand, but divided they will fall.
The interest of all of us is to get the best price available for the farmers. And I want to repeat that. It is in the interest of all of us to secure the best price for our Dasheen so that the farmers can obtain a better income. Therefore, I noted that there are many different persons who sell Dasheen on different markets. And we have to come to a conclusion. And that is why I am spending almost the whole day here today, because I want to participate in the discussion. And what I'm going to say might not sit well with some persons, but I have to say it. If the Trinidad and Tobago market could only offer 50 cents for Dasheen, I am not going to argue with the Trinidad and Tobago market. If the market in another island says 10 cents per pound, I'm not going to argue with them. But I want for the farmers to sell to the markets that we can get the best price. It means that on some weeks, we will have to make a determination as to which markets our Dasheen will go to. And I said it's not going to sit well with some people. But at the end of the day, we have to ensure that what you put into your Dasheen, you get it out when you sell your Dasheen. And I want to say this in defense of the traffickers.
Noting that the ministry also has an important role to play to ensure the farmers get the right price for their produce, Minister Caesar says they will analyze the various markets and speak to the traffickers on how to move around the produce to get the best price.
This week, the market in Trinidad is flooded with Dasheen. Let us not send Dasheen to Trinidad and Tobago. Next week, it might even happen in Miami. They may say they have too much ginger in Miami. So that week we say we're not sending ginger to Miami, we're sending it to UK or we're sending it to Trinidad. If all of us come into a room and we are not united, all of us will go down. And that is as honest as I can be. If we don't decide to work together, if we don't decide to share the information, this is not going to work. But I'll tell you this. The Ministry of Agriculture, we have already calculated how much it is to grow a pound of Dasheen. And I had a discussion with the input warehouse this morning. Even though the fertilizer prices are going down, they're not going down fast enough. We have the calculation for how much for fertilizer, how much for labor, how much for the lease of your land. And from our calculation, and I want to make another bold statement, it was noted to me that a pound of Dasheen should not go below $1 per pound. Now, it's not every week that the Trinidad market will be able to give you $1. I'm saying this in defense of those who go into Trinidad. It's not every week the Barbados market may be able to give you $1. But we have to be honest about this. And if you are a trafficker and you're going into a market where prices are not good, leave the farmer produce alone, because you're spinning top in mud.
Tuesday's consultation, which attracted over 200 participants, was geared towards engaging farmers and other stakeholders in the Ministry of Agriculture Trust for dasheen production. A one-day consultation on the development of digital skills training frameworks was held on Tuesday, February 7th at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Conference Room. The forum was hosted by the National Project Implementation on Unit, the PIU, of the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, CARDTP, through the Ministry of Finance in conjunction with the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS Commission. A news release from the Agency for Public Information, the API, said the session sought to tackle issues relating to the selection of digital skills training programs at the national and regional levels, identify the availability of resources and constraints within this area, and create strategies for the National Digital Skills Training Program. Project coordinator of the CARDTP, Winston George, said the project addresses a range of innovations, including a single window for trade facilitation and sales facilitation, land and property transactions, and a new tax information management system that can be accessed online. George added that the program also seeks to provide training in digital skills and technology adoption in both the private and public sector. The project coordinator noted that the training will promote remote or online work to boost employment. A team leader of the CARDTP, David Edwards, said there are tangible benefits to be derived from transformational process, such as improving the earning capacity of individuals, creating a strategy for the selection of persons to be trained, along with enhanced accessibility to the training, all tailored to the specific islands. Technical specialist of the OECS, Kiwi Roberts, said the mission aims to provide opportunities for employment and entrepreneurship and hopes to engage approximately 300 persons across the territories in advanced level skills training and certification. The workshop is part of a series of sessions facilitated by UK-based firm, the Center for Employment Initiative, and is positioned to conduct the market assessment and development of frameworks for programs, accommodate training in 4 OECS member states, namely St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As SVG gets ready to celebrate Heroes and Heritage Month, March 2023, President of the National Garifuna Heritage Foundation, David Darky Williams, said he is pleased with the support they have been receiving over the years. Addressing a news conference on Monday to launch the month-long activities, Williams said for the last 20 years, the foundation has been engaging the Vincentian public in the Garifuna heritage and culture through a number of activities, including art, essay competitions, exhibitions, and workshops, and they have all been well supported.
One of the things that we have been engaging the public with is our conferences and the school's Garifuna Folk Festival, where schools throughout St. Vincent are asked to come to Victoria Park and participate in a whole day celebration by making presentations on themes related to the Garifuna heritage and the Garifuna culture. And some of those themes may involve artistic creations. For instance, I could remember us asking schools to use the colors of the Garifuna flag, yellow, black, and green. Yellow, black, and white. And use it creatively to create uniforms. We even had a fashion show that asked people to present fashions using the three colors. And that's the aim of our engagement, for people to become comfortable with this history, with this culture, and that you could use it in the many activities you do without having to feel a strain in approaching what is done. And I think we have succeeded to a great extent in getting people to accept the culture, the heritage, as a part of the Vincentian psyche.
Williams said the Garifuna heritage and culture are very important to the Vincentian psyche and must be embraced by all.
That there are many things in the survival of Garifuna that we can draw strength from to help to fashion who we are and where we came from. And I hope when the conference comes around, and you will hear a lot more about the conference by another presenter this morning, when the conference comes around, that you will not only be attending, but you will be engaging presenters as we seek to advance a reason for us to embrace this culture and this heritage.
The Garifuna Heritage Foundation activities for the 2023 National Heroes and Heritage Month will begin on March 3rd with the National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival and culminate with the 10th Garifuna International Conference on March 11th.